You've been trying, haven't you, breaking your back, bending over just to get a crumb of their respect, but what did it get you? A laugh behind your back, a sneer when you weren't looking. You gave them your time, your energy, your soul, and they spit it right back in your face. And now you sit there wondering, why don't they respect me? Why don't they see my worth? Let me break it to you, kid, they don't respect you because you gave them too much of yourself, too much of your time, your energy, your attention. You fed them and now they think they own you. You know, it's funny how the world works. They tell you to fight back, to stand your ground, to scream louder than the ones who try to tear you down. They tell you to prove yourself, to show them what you're worth, but I'm here to tell you something else, something they don't want you to know. The loudest ones, they're the weakest, the ones who demand your attention, your reaction. They need you more than you need them. And here's the twist: the moment you stop playing their game, you win. I've seen it, kid, over and over. People breaking themselves just to prove they matter to folks who don't care, folks who will never care. But let me ask you this: what if you stopped? What if you ignored them, walked away, refused to give them the satisfaction of your anger, your pain? What happens then? I'll tell you what happens: respect, fear, 4 things you don't beg for, 4 things you don't chase, 4 things you earn when you show them you're above their noise. This isn't about taking the high road or turning the other cheek. No, no, no. This is about strategy, power, strength. Because every time you respond, every time you let their words, their actions, their lies get under your skin, you give them power over you. And you're better than that, you're smarter than that, you're bigger than that. Let me break it down for you: 4 reasons, 4 truths, 4 lessons that'll make them respect you, make them fear you without you lifting a damn finger. But you've got to listen, you've got to understand, cause this is how you take control, not just of them but of yourself. You ready? Good. Let's begin. 1. Silence makes them question their power. Let me start with the most basic rule of control: power only works when it's acknowledged. Their words, their jabs, their fake smiles, all of it, it only stings because you let it. The moment you ignore them, you snatch that power out of their hands, and that scares them. Oh, it terrifies them. Think about this picture: a dog barking at you in the street. Annoying, isn't it? But do you bark back? No, you walk past, head held high, like it's beneath you. That's what ignoring does. It shows them they don't matter, and that's where respect begins. People only fear what they can't control. See, when you argue back, you validate their existence. When you ignore them, you make them irrelevant, and nothing burns more than irrelevance. Nothing stings harder than realizing their games don't work on. You let their words fall into the void and watch their confidence crumble too. Ignoring exposes their weakness. Now here's the fun part: when you don't react, you force them to reveal their insecurities. Their masks start to slip. The louder they get, yet the more desperate they become. Let me tell you a little story. There was a kid once, quiet, small, always minding his own business. The bullies thought they could break him, but every insult, every shove, every attempt to humiliate him, he met it with silence. No. Tears, no. Anger, just cold indifference. And you know what happened? They cracked. They couldn't handle the lack of reaction. They started fighting among themselves, trying to outdo each other, trying to force a response. The kid never gave them one, and in the end he won. See, that ignoring them doesn't just show strength, it reflects their weakness, their need for attention, for validation, for control. It's all exposed when you refuse to play their game. It's like holding up a mirror, forcing them to see the pathetic creature staring back. 3. Silence builds mystery and fear. Mystery, the thing people fear the most when they don't know what you're thinking. They imagine the worst. Silence is power, kid. It's a weapon sharper than any insult, more effective than any punch. Think of the most feared people in history. They didn't shout, didn't scream, didn't explain themselves. They let their silence speak volumes. Silence makes you unpredictable, and unpredictability, that's what keeps people up at night. When you stop explaining yourself, when you stop reacting, they start filling in the blanks. Why isn't he reacting? What's planning? Does he know something I don't? Their imagination becomes your greatest ally. Let them spiral in their own minds. Let them drown in their own doubts. Fear doesn't come from what you say, it comes from what you don't say. So keep quiet, watch them squirm, let them fear the storm they think is coming, even if it never does. For and finally, ignoring protects your peace and amplifies your power. And finally, ignoring them isn't just about them, it's about you, your peace, your focus, your power. Why waste your energy on people who thrive on your misery? Here's a harsh truth for you: not everyone deserves your attention, not everyone deserves a seat at your table. Your time is limited, your energy sacred. Why throw pearls to pigs when you ignore them? You protect your peace, you take back control, you focus on what matters, on your goals, your growth, your future. And that is what they truly fear. They don't fear your silence, they fear what your silence allows you to become. They're stuck in their little world, playing their petty games, but when you're moving forward, every second you don't spend on them is a second you invest in yourself. Every time you walk away, you're building a legacy they'll never understand. And one day when they look up, they'll see you towering above them, unbothered, unstoppable. That's the power of ignoring them. It's not just a defense, it's a strategy, a way to rise above to become untouchable. So, kid, are you starting to get it now? Ignoring them isn't weakness, it's power, it's control, it's the ultimate revenge. They want your attention, they crave your reaction. Don't give it to them, starve them, let them wither in the shadows while you shine in the light. And remember, respect that doesn't come from shouting the loudest or hitting the hardest. It comes from silence, from strength, from knowing who you are, refusing to let anyone drag you down. Ignore them, rise above them, become the storm they never saw coming. And when they look back, they'll realize too late that the person they tried to break became unbreakable. Abel, you've got this, kid. Now get out there and show them what silence really means.